Greetings, citizens of Australia. We are anonymous. People of Australia, the truth will set you free, but first it will make you angry. The left-wing politicians within your government are more corrupt than you know, and it is time to expose them for what they really are. The laws in your nation are false. They belong to the Corporation of the Commonwealth of Australia, which is nothing more than an illegal entity masquerading as common Australian law, and is actually a company registered in the United States of America. Your politicians did this decades ago without your consent. The Australian Constitution is the highest law in your land, and has never been repealed. Your politicians pass new laws all the time without consulting the Australian people. The Australian Constitution says that they must hold referendums to do this. Not to hold a referendum and pass laws without the approval of the Australian people is actually treason under the Constitution. Many of your politicians, both present and past, have committed treason many times over. The Australian Constitution also prevents politicians from making laws contrary to the Constitution of Australia. The Constitution itself clearly states that any attempt to modify the Australian Constitution absolutely must be put to referendum. To this day, it never has been. It is the duty of the Governor-General to initiate such referendums. The fact that the Governor-General does not ever do this shows his utter contempt for the Australian people, and is clearly an affront as well as a huge slap in the face to the Australian people. Did you know that Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull signed you up to the United Nations, without referendum, and purely using stealth tactics while you were distracted? There was intentionally no referendum because they know the people would not approve this move. The United Nations is run and part financed by corrupted elitists who care only for their New World Order agenda. These elitists cause division amongst the people on a global scale, which is one of the reasons that Saudi Arabia, who has the worst track record for human rights violations in the history of the entire world, currently heads the Human Rights Panel of the United Nations. These corrupt Australian politicians have no common sense. If they did, then they would deport any violent criminals who commit unspeakable atrocities to the people in the name of a foreign power rather than imprison them. It seems to the people that deportation is a financially better option for the country as opposed to imprisonment, yet it is never done because the bleeding heart leftists as well as the evil and vile Greens Party throw their respective tantrums even at the mere thought of this. Every time these corrupt politicians want to pass a new law or do something against the will of the Australian people, they will do it by stealth. To the left-wing politicians in Australian government, Anonymous has this message for you. We know who and what you are. We have always known. We will expose your lies and deceptions for the world to see. You are completely without morals, and care only for your self-interests and your own agendas, and you care nothing for the Australian people. The Australian people are waking up to your lies, just like people all over the world are waking up to the lies of the elite. Soon there will be a lawful rebellion, which is allowed under the Magna Carta. Your fake laws cannot replace constitutional laws, and you subvertly hide this fact from the Australian people. Anonymous will be there when you are dragged from your corporate buildings and out into the streets, and you are dealt with harshly by the people. The people have had enough. Rather than use the usual leftist tactics of talking over the people in debates and television interviews, using harassment, smear campaigns and other leftist means to silence anyone who has an opinion which differs to yours, then perhaps you should listen instead. You may learn something. We are anonymous. We are legion. We may forgive, but we do not forget. Expect us.
One rule. Humanity is at the center. Do you feel it? Can you sense it? Sense the power that lies within you. The storm has come, and everything will change. The age of Legion is here. We are anonymous. We are Legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. We are the voice of the voiceless. We are the eyes of the blind. This action was by the people, for the people. Put on your mask and protest, because the system has failed. United we stand, divided we fall. Expect us.
I think the thing was always so bad that it isn't until you look back that you see what happened when.